So now, ladies and gentlemen, live and in colour, it's Mr. Wayne Love Juice.
The other day I produced a Louis, had a chat with an interesting chappie who said that the YouTube algorithms really aren't that happy. If a channel only broadcasts once a week, so we decided we could text ya whenever we've got a piece of news in our new book on the track Xtra. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's John Downs, and I'm the director of the Centre for Fortean Zoology, and welcome to another episode of On the Track Extra. For those of you who don't know, twice a week on Wednesday evenings for about a quarter of an hour, and on Saturday afternoons for about half an hour, I bring you a miscellany of hard science, weird shit, and surreality. You don't know what surreality is? Well, you're going to have to cop a load of this.
Why is the ermine considered to be a dirty beast? Because, unto itself, it is a luxuriant bedsheet, but it has no change of linen and must do its laundry with its tongue.
But this episode we've got something really special for you, because the CFZ expeditionary team are, as we speak, on their way to Indonesia to do all sorts of exciting things, which they're now going to tell us all about. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you will recognise these three gallant, brave explorers that are sitting on the sofa, alongside Archie the dog and Squeaky the cat. But just in case you don't, from left to right, it's Carl Marshall, it's Geordie Jackson, and it is Richard Freeman. And by the time you watch this, they are going to be queuing up at Heathrow, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're going to be queuing up at Heathrow, ready to catch a flight to Indonesia. Now, I always wanted to do, because all the previous trips they've gone by way of Singapore, and so I thought I could do my best Tom Waits impersonation and go, "Tonight we sail for Singapore, we're all as mad as hatters here." But they're not. They're going by way of Java. And although I suppose I could do a version of Surabaya Johnny, it really wouldn't work, because none of them are called Johnny and they're not going to Surabaya. So, what are you guys going to be doing in Jakarta? Why are you going to Jakarta, and where are you going from then?
Well, I think I've got about 22 hours in Jakarta as a connection, and we might venture out into the city and see the markets there, but it's not very safe, so we have to be careful, I think. I don't know what the other guys want to do there.
Maybe we could meet up with some dusky eastern maidens.
I don't think they're maidens, but
But apart from dusky eastern maidens and wandering around the market as if it was your local Lidl, what are you actually doing? Why are you in Jakarta, and where are you going from there?
that is one of the connections after Doha. So we're there for 22 hours, and then we fly on to Padang, Tabing Airport, where we'll be picked up by Dali.
And what are you doing in Padang, by the way, is in Sumatra, I believe.
It is.
What are you guys doing in Sumatra?
Well, really, mainly, we're looking for any evidence of the orang-pendek in 3 new locations, which, as far as we know, nobody's really been into before. We're also interested in the orang-kadil, which is a more human-like looking creature. the chigao, which is supposed to be some sort of large cat, and I personally am interested in the what's called the Sumatran hummingbird, which probably isn't a hummingbird at all, but it's going to be possibly some sort of hummingbird hawk moth, maybe a new species.
Richard, you've been to Sumatra before, I remember.
This is my 6th time.
Can you give us a brief thumbnail sketch of the orang-pendek and what you think it is?
The orang-pendek is a short but powerfully built upright walking ape, 3 to 5 feet tall but very broad-shouldered, rather human-looking face. It's generally said to have black or dark grey hair, although there are colour morphs that are reddish and a yellow colour as well. Immensely strong, although not aggressive. There are a few reports of it hurling sticks at people when it's annoyed, but it's not an aggressive animal, although the natives fear it because of its strength. We think it's a ground-dwelling orangutan. When we collected hair before, because we've found footprints, we've found handprints, and we've found hair. The hair was analysed by Lars Thomas of Copenhagen University, and he's an expert in mammal hair, and he concluded, due to the arrangement of the scales on the hair, that it was related to but distinct from the Sumatran orangutan, and that it was from a new primate.
Orangutan speciation has been looked at quite differently recently, hasn't it? Because when I was a boy, it was known that there's one species of orangutan, and now there's 3.
There is no.
Yeah, well, they thought there was 2 subspecies, the Bornean and the Sumatran, and they used to allow them to cross in captivity in zoos and things, but now we know there are 3. There's the Bornean orangutan, the Sumatran orangutan, and the Tapanuli orangutan that was only discovered in 2017 in Sumatra. So it makes sense that the orang-pendek is the 4th extant species of orangutan.
I think the orangutan was originally known by anecdotal evidence, the Tapanuli orangutan by anecdotal evidence in about 1937, and then it was actually discovered in 1997, and it got its own taxonomy by 2017.
I didn't know that the stories of it were that far back. So, what is it, going down a slight rabbit hole, but hey, I'm the presenter of this madhouse and it's my rabbit hole, we'll go down it. What is the difference between the Tapanuli orangutan and the Sumatran orangutan?
It's mainly its morphology, isn't it?
Well, it's genetically distinct.
Mm.
All 3 split off. All 3 known species of orangutans split off from each other, speciated, when Sunderland was still a place. Not Sunderland up near you.
Oh, I hope not. No.
Sunderland being the landmass that consisted of Java, Sumatra, Borneo, and the Malayan Peninsula. It was all one landmass once before the ocean levels changed and the islands developed. But the orangutans apparently had speciated before then, due to whatever environmental pressures were on Sunderland.
What is the difference in morphology between the Tapanuli and the Sumatran orangutan?
They're very hard to tell apart when you just look at them. The Bornean orangutan is chunkier and they move on all 4s. The Sumatran orangutan and the Tapanuli orangutan, the males, when they come down from the trees, walk erect on their hind legs. There's very slight facial differences between the Tapanuli orangutan and the Sumatran orangutan, but they're very hard to tell apart. But they're distinct on a genetic level, in the same way that some birds look almost identical, are distinct on the genetic level.
The pictures I've seen of the Tapanuli orangutan, they sort of look paler, not quite so orange, more blonde.
Yeah, but there's a hell of a lot of colour morphology in orangutans. There's a lot of variation. orangutans can be ginger, they can be brown, they can be black.
Yeah, we actually found reports of black orangutans in Borneo.
In the book The Red Ape, there's a anecdote of a encounter between a Western explorer and a black orangutan. He calls it Ivan the Terrible because it's so big, but it was black in the same way that a gorilla is black.
So how are you going to go about looking for the orang-pendek? What's your modus operandi going to be?
Well, there are several things we're going to do. We're going to be leaving up camera traps, so if anything walks by, we'll get a shot of it, and probably we'll leave some bait out as well, some fruit or something. We'll be trekking through the rainforest itself, looking for the creature, trying to find it and film it, and we'll be interviewing witnesses.
Yeah, hopefully the villagers and native tribes in the area. And we also going to have drone footage as well, so you never know from the treetops or with all the lowlands, I can get some good video footage of and survey the area to see if there's anything out there.
You've got much more complex equipment than the CFZ's ever had before, haven't you?
We've got more money than we've had before.
Yeah, so we've got a digital SLR, the Canon 80D, which is it's not a 4K, but it's a very capable camera, and we've got the Canon A45, which is a 4K equipped a night mode
10 trail cameras.
10 trail cameras, and we have GoPros for day-to-day videoing, and also we have the drone, of course, as well, which is going to be invaluable for surveying and taking shots of the treetops and other areas like rivers.
How steep has the learning curve been for you, Geordie, in piloting the drone?
It's certainly been an experience. I was quite tentative to start with, tending to look in the air at the drone rather than looking at the phone, which obviously has a video picture of the drone flying. That's really how you should look and work with the drone, and obviously the manoeuvres with your hand movements on the control gradually got better and better, and hopefully now the footage is a lot better than it was when I first took it.
We only lost one.
Yeah, only lost one. That was my fault, but that's not going to happen again. We do have propeller protectors on them as well, which if you do come into difficulty, the propellers will be protected from any branches or anything, any objects. And also, if the GPS is lost, the drone will stay where it is and then automatically return to home if there's not enough power with the battery life left on it.
Wow.
And the quality is amazing as well. Obviously the 2.7K is higher definition than 1080p, so hopefully it'll be very, very fine and a very good quality picture and video.
So, Richard, how is this expedition going to be different to previous ones? What are you going to do differently?
Well, it's going to be a lot longer. For a start, we've got we've got a whole month rather than a couple of weeks. We're going to have many, many more camera traps. Because before we had, I think, 4 camera traps was the most we ever took.
Well, we've got the 10 of ours that we've got, and we've also got a couple of CFZ ones we can take. So
We've got 4 or
15.
5.
We've got about 15.
We've got 4,
Yeah.
which actually reminds me, guys, you've got to take those with you when you
We
go.
will, yeah. Yeah, and they're very easy to use. Basically, these trail cameras, basically on and off. The red infrared light comes on the front, and then they are active. They will take 3 pictures and 10 seconds of video every time the camera is triggered, which gives you a good overall view of the object or animal, whatever it is, in up to 50 meters away.
It's nice and clear.
One of the things that I have always found puzzling is that when we've used the camera traps in temperate climates, either in Tasmania or here in North Devon, we have got hold of quite a few pictures of the local wildlife. When Richard used the camera trap in Kazakhstan, we got pictures of bear and various other creatures. But whenever we've used them in the jungle, we've had absolutely nothing. I think the best
One
thing,
little blue bird.
and yet, and that was so blurry you couldn't actually see what it was. Why is this?
Well, I think a lot of the time you need to look where the animals are going and moving at night. So a water source is always a good idea to place a camera near a tree there. And obviously if you see any tracks of any animals, certainly putting a camera in the view and at quite a length along the trail would be ideal as well. You've got to think where the animals are going to go and where they're going to feed and drink each evening.
You know what? When we were in Borneo, we had a camera set up in somewhere or other, and it got chewed on the front. The lens got chewed, and it was absolutely ruined. We didn't get a photograph of the animal chewing it, even though he was looking directly into the front of it. But going by the distance between the teeth, it looked like it was probably a pigtailed macaque. But we actually had him chewing the front of the camera directly in front of it, and we didn't get a photograph of him.
Which is very unusual, because it does trigger with the sensor very easily.
I think he can be too close.
I think that, well, I'm hoping that the technology of camera traps has improved sort of exponentially over the last few years, because the last time Richard used camera traps in Sumatra was best part of 10 years ago.
Mm.
Oh.
And the last time that, and the last time you were in Borneo was
2013.
yeah, so nearly 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I hope that even the relatively low cost camera traps that we've got now,
They're better.
They're
and
much better.
it'd be really interesting to see how the results compare. If we don't get any results, that will still be a result, and it's proving that we're doing something wrong. And so I think it's a useful thing to do, even an absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence, but it can point you in the right direction for what you should be doing better in the future.
The new cameras are very, very simple. You literally just switch them on, and they do everything else themselves.
There's no picture at the back, there's no confusing controls like other cameras, which are more expensive. I bought them on voucher. They were around about £25 each, which is a lot cheaper than they used to be. And you're talking 10 to 12 megapixel pictures, and obviously 1080p, which 10 years ago you'd be very hard pushed to get 1080p. It would be standard definition. So the detail of anything we've got on there would be easier to identify. Obviously night vision as well, so black and white. And we're also taking some UV lights as well, ultraviolet lights as well. So we'll be filming in the night time as well, and going out on trails maybe in the evening.
To all three of you, let's imagine a scenario when you get a really fantastic picture of an orang-pendek and some hair samples and footprints, all the evidence you need. What's the next stage? What happens then?
Well, then we have to wait whilst the hair samples are examined. We're also going to try and get eDNA as well, environmental DNA. We'll wait for the results of that, and then if the results come through and it's looking like a new species, we make a formal declaration, we write a press release, we give the information over to the relevant bodies.
I think we set up some sort of conservation effort.
Oh, yeah.
Once we've actually
this is immediately straight after.
Once we've actually got the proof and we know it's there, then
we
go
work
down
with
that
the
way.
Indonesian government and the Parks Department to get it recognised as a species and protected.
And the area which it's been seen in, obviously that immediately will be protected, and any other areas that we might find that are possibilities.
Can you
hopefully.
imagine what it would do for conservation if it was some sort of little human? Not necessarily Homo sapiens, but some sort of Homo genus.
Well, the orang-cardil maybe. I'm convinced orang-pendek is a ground-dwelling orangutan, but orang-cardil, the other little creature seen out
Maybe
there,
the people.
I think they're related to Homo floresiensis because they're described as being 3 feet tall, mostly hairless except for long hair on the head, and hunting with bamboo spears, which the Ibu Gogo of Flores was supposed to have done.
We know very little as well about...
Smaller than the orang-pendek and much more slightly built.
Yeah.
Well, boys, good luck. I'm going to be there with you in spirit, and golly, I'm looking forward to hearing your travellers' tales when you come home. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that's about it for this episode of On the Track Extra. You will, if you have your eye on the clock, notice that it is longer than usual. But, heaven's sake, how could I have cut any of that out? We're going to be back on Saturday with all sorts of other exciting things, including some more about the expedition, and we are going to be visiting Loch Ness with Ian Squibbs and talking to my old friend Ronan Coghlan about why cryptozoology is not a pseudoscience like so many know-it-alls on the internet like to claim it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, until then, if you're there to watch on Saturday and again on Wednesday, I'll be seeing you. Spinach.